The dark side of Egypt, the land of pharaonic demons that terrorizes the world. Majestic pyramids emerging from golden sands, mummies preserved for millennia, mysterious hieroglyphs decorating grandiose temples, and the image of a civilization that conquered eternity through divine wisdom. When we think of Egypt, our minds are invaded by scenes from the Valley of the Kings, by the grandeur of the Giza pyramids, by Tutankhamun's golden treasures, and by the promise of a land where gods walked among mortals and magic was official science. The Egyptian tourism industry invested decades building this image. An exotic country where benevolent pharaohs governed through celestial wisdom, where priests performed miracles through sacred knowledge, where mummies sleep peacefully in their eternal chambers, and where ancient spirituality represents harmonious connection with superior cosmic forces. But there exists an Egypt that Nile cruises don't show, that the Egyptian government carefully hides from international eyes, and that world media prefers to ignore to keep the Orientalist fantasy alive. A nation where pharaonic curses still kill archaeologists and looters, where secret societies practice necromancy with stolen mummies, where modern wizards make pacts with bloodthirsty gods, and where ancestral rituals transform sacred temples into chambers of horror. From which city are you watching this video? Tell me in the comments where you're speaking from, because after this investigation into Egypt's spiritual darkness, you'll understand that not all ancestral wisdom brings illumination. Some bring only eternal darkness. There exists an Egypt where clandestine priests still mummify living people as ritual punishment, where the Book of the Dead is used to cast deadly curses against enemies, where jinns, Islamic demons, are invoked in secret mosques to execute bloody vengeance, and where the search for pharaonic secrets can lead explorers to madness, possession, and agonizing death in the depths of cursed temples. Today, we'll take you on a journey through the darkest and most terrifying aspects of Egyptian spirituality. We'll discover how 3,000-year-old curses still operate in the modern world, how secret societies use pharaonic magic to control politics and economy, and how the quest for immortality transformed Egypt into a laboratory of supernatural horror. Prepare to discover that behind the golden hieroglyphs and majestic temples exists a spiritual universe where death, power, and revenge mix in the eternal sands of the desert. Number 1. The Curse of the Pharaohs, documented death in the name of eternal vengeance. While tourists pose for selfies in front of the pyramids, the Curse of the Pharaohs continues claiming real lives in systematically documented ways. Since the opening of Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922, more than 200 people directly involved in excavations, research, or theft of Egyptian artifacts have died under inexplicable circumstances that defy statistical coincidence. Lord Carnarvon, financier of Howard Carter's expedition, died 5 months after entering the tomb, victim of a sudden infection that progressed from a small cut to fatal septicemia in 48 hours. Arthur Mace, archaeologist who removed the sealed wall of the burial chamber, died of inexplicable exhaustion just 4 months later. George J. Gould, American billionaire who visited the tomb, died of mysterious fever 12 hours after leaving the site. Contemporary documented cases include Dr. Gamal Merez, director of the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, who died of a sudden heart attack in 1972, just 1 day after supervising the transfer of Tutankhamun's treasures for exhibition in London. Muhammad Ibrahim, the Egyptian archaeologist responsible for recent discoveries in the Valley of the Kings, died in an inexplicable car accident in 2015, just 2 weeks after announcing the discovery of a secret chamber in Nefertiti's tomb. The official scientific explanation for these deaths includes spores of deadly fungi, toxic gases accumulated over millennia, and radiation from radioactive materials used in the mummification process. However, modern toxicological analyses rarely identify specific causes, and the pattern of deaths includes people who never physically entered the tombs but only handled artifacts or supervised excavations. Like this video if you have the courage to learn about these realities that challenge our understanding of life, death, and beyond the grave vengeance. For local Egyptians, especially those living near archaeological sites, curses are not superstition. They are operational reality that influences daily decisions. Entire families refuse to work on excavations. Merchants avoid selling hot artifacts, and even government authorities consult priests and wizards before authorizing new explorations. Protection rituals performed before opening tombs include animal sacrifices, food and drink offerings for guardian spirits, recitation of magical formulas from the Book of the Dead, and use of specific amulets that supposedly neutralize curses. Skeptical archaeologists who ignore these precautions frequently report nightmares, hallucinations, inexplicable accidents, and sudden deterioration of physical and mental health. Number 2. Secret societies, the heirs of the priests of Thebes. In the heart of modern Cairo and in the ruins of Luxor, secret societies descended from ancient Egyptian priests continue operating through networks that include politicians, businessmen, archaeologists, and even Islamic religious leaders. These organizations maintain esoteric knowledge preserved for millennia and use it to influence national politics, economy, and archaeological discoveries. The Order of the Guardians of Osiris, documented through diplomatic leaks and journalistic investigations, includes members of the Egyptian parliament, museum directors, and businessmen who control the tourism industry. Monthly meetings are held in underground chambers built under historic Cairo mosques, where rituals combine pharaonic magic with syncretic Islamic elements. Initiation rituals include months of preparation through specific fasts, study of original hieroglyphs, and ceremonies where candidates are symbolically killed through drugs that induce temporary cardiac arrest, then resurrected as new servants of the ancient gods. Many candidates develop permanent neurological sequelae due to these practices. The Brotherhood of Red Scribes specializes in Egyptian black magic, offering services of cursing, possession, and ritual death for clients who pay fortunes for guaranteed revenge. Members include descendants of families who served pharaohs as priests, wizards, and embalmers, preserving secret techniques through oral transmission for 50 generations. Control of archaeological discoveries is exercised through members infiltrated in the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities. Tombs considered dangerous are kept sealed indefinitely. Artifacts with specific magical inscriptions are removed before public exhibitions, and researchers who discover evidence of ritual magic are discreetly removed from projects through political and economic pressures. Modern political influence includes using magic to influence elections, neutralizing political opponents through directed curses, and protecting government leaders through specific amulets and rituals. Former President Hosni Mubarak maintained personal wizards who performed weekly rituals to guarantee his permanence in power and protection against popular revolts. Number 3. Pharaonic Black Magic, the Book of the Dead as a weapon of destruction. The Egyptian Book of the Dead, officially known as the Book of Coming Forth by Day, contains much more than guidance for navigation in the afterlife. Specific sections include cursing spells, possession rituals, and instructions for invoking vengeful deities that can cause disease, madness, and death to designated enemies. Cursed papyri held in private collections and museums include texts that have never been publicly translated due to content considered dangerous. These documents contain curses directed against tomb invaders, offering thieves, and anyone who disrespects pharaonic authority. Librarians and curators who have handled these texts consistently report nightmares, accidents, and health deterioration. Execration spells practiced by modern wizards include creating wax dolls, cursed ushabti, representing specific victims, which are burned, pierced, or buried accompanied by curses written in hieroglyphs. These rituals are performed during new moons at archaeological sites, when the veil between the worlds of the living and dead is thinnest. The tradition of pyramid texts preserves magical formulas that supposedly grant power over death and life. Modern clandestine priests claim the ability to stop and restart vital processes, induce reversible comas, and even resurrect recent dead through rituals that combine Egyptian magic with modern medical knowledge. Would you live in a country where 3,000-year-old books are still used to cast deadly curses? Leave in the comments what you think of this continuity between past and present. Necromancy rituals include communication with specific mummies through sessions where mediums enter trances, incorporate personalities of dead pharaohs, and receive instructions to execute vengeance against descendants of historical enemies. These sessions are performed in secret chambers built in the foundations of modern Cairo buildings, decorated with original hieroglyphs removed from looted tombs. Ritual ingredients include mummy fragments, hair, teeth, bones, sand from specific tombs, embalming oils reconstituted through ancient recipes, and blood from animals sacrificed according to Pharaonic protocols. The black market for mummified materials moves millions of dollars annually, with buyers including private collectors, secret societies, and international black magic practitioners. Number 4. Islamic Jinns, fire demons in Cairo's mosques. Egypt's conversion to Islam did not eliminate beliefs in supernatural entities. It merely reinterpreted them through Islamic theology. Jinns, beings made of smokeless fire mentioned in the Quran, are regularly invoked by Egyptian wizards who combine Islamic rituals with Pharaonic traditions, creating a hybrid system of magic that operates in mosques, cemeteries, and archaeological ruins. Specialized sheiks in jinn magic operate clandestine clinics in Cairo's popular neighborhoods, offering services that include enemy possession, commercial curses, forced love bindings, and even assassinations through spectral attacks. Prices vary from hundreds to thousands of dollars, depending on the complexity of the requested magical operation. Invocation rituals include 40-day fasts, recitation of specific Quranic verses, frequently inverted or distorted, sacrifices of black animals, and ceremonies performed in cemeteries during Friday dawns. Jinns summoned through these rituals supposedly obey specific commands, but demand payment in the form of years of the invoker's life, family members' health, or third-party souls. The traditional classification of jinns includes ifrits, specialized in revenge and destruction, marids, controllers of natural elements, ghouls, necrophages that inhabit cemeteries, and sila, seducers who cause madness through sexual obsession. Each category requires specific rituals, particular offerings, and control methods that can be lethal if executed incorrectly. Jinn possessions are treated through exorcisms that combine Quranic recitation with Pharaonic elements, including use of hieroglyphic amulets, specific incenses, and even partial mummification of possessed persons to preserve their humanity during the demonic expulsion process. Many victims die during these procedures due to extreme physical and psychological trauma. Talisman markets specialized in protection against jinns includes rings engraved with Quranic verses mixed with hieroglyphs, necklaces made with mummy fragments, and amulets that combine Islamic symbols with Pharaonic iconography. These objects are sold in underground markets and cost thousands of dollars, being considered essential for survival in a society where jinn magic is operational reality. The political influence of jinns includes using these entities for espionage. Jinns can become invisible and pass through walls, discreet assassinations, deaths that seem natural but are caused by spectral attacks, and manipulation of economic events through supernatural interference in commercial negotiations and important governmental decisions. Subscribe to the channel and discover more dark traditions that countries hide from the world, because these spiritual realities need to be known before it's too late. Documented cases include businessmen who hired sheiks to possess commercial rivals, politicians who used jinns to influence electoral results, and families who resorted to jinn magic to avenge murders unsolved by police. Results include sudden deaths of targets, inexplicable accidents, and outbreaks of collective madness in targeted companies and organizations. Living mummies, necromancy, and the empire of the living dead. Number 5. Mummification of living people, the terror of modern embalmers. While museums exhibit mummies as historical curiosities, in the depths of the Egyptian desert there still exist secret chambers where clandestine embalmers practice the lost art of mummification on living people. These practices, documented through journalistic investigations and police leaks, combine modern medical knowledge with pharaonic techniques to create living dead that serve as eternal servants or extreme punishment for traitors of secret societies. Leaked documents from Egyptian intelligence reveal the existence of at least 12 mummification houses operating in territories controlled by Western Desert Bedouins, where victims are kept conscious during the process of organ removal, application of preserving oils, and wrapping in bandages impregnated with chemical substances that maintain biological life while preventing voluntary movement. The modern process includes use of paralytic drugs that keep victims conscious but immobilized, life support equipment that prolongs agony for weeks, and preservation techniques that guarantee living mummies remain conscious for months or years while their bodies slowly deteriorate. These creatures are kept in underground chambers where they serve as forced oracles or instruments of psychological torture. Victims include archaeologists who discovered secrets considered dangerous, journalists who investigated secret societies, and renegade members of occultist organizations who tried to reveal internal practices. Their living mummies are exhibited to new initiates as demonstration of the price of betrayal and the power of ancestral traditions. Consultation rituals include ceremonies where leaders of secret societies ask specific questions to living mummies, who are forced to respond through eye movements, controlled breathing, or coded moans. Responses are interpreted as wisdom of the dead and used to make decisions about assassinations, financial investments, and political strategies. The location of these chambers is protected through networks of Bedouin informants, bribery of local authorities, and ritual curses that supposedly cause instant death for anyone who reveals specific locations. Rescue expeditions, organized by victims' families, frequently end in complete disappearances of entire teams. Number 6. Resurrection of Pharaohs. Experiments with real mummies. Egyptian secret societies maintain clandestine resurrection programs that combine modern medical technology with pharaonic rituals to attempt to return life to mummies of specific pharaohs. These experiments, financed through fortunes accumulated over centuries, include use of stem cells, gene therapy, and reanimation techniques aimed at creating divine leaders for a new pharaonic era. Secret laboratories located in underground complexes beneath smaller pyramids include advanced medical equipment, cryogenic reanimation chambers, and altars where spiritual summoning rituals are performed simultaneously with scientific procedures. Mummies are treated with special chemical solutions, exposed to specific electromagnetic fields, and subjected to blood transfusions obtained from specific donors who claim pharaonic descent. Documented results include cases where mummies showed temporary vital signs, reflexive movements, and even attempts at vocalization. However, no experiment resulted in complete resurrection. Instead, it created semi-living abominations that demonstrate limited consciousness but severely deteriorated physical and mental capabilities. The Society of the Heirs of RA invested more than $500 million over 30 years trying to resurrect Ramesses II's mummy, claiming that the returned pharaoh would lead modern Egypt toward a new era of world domination. Experiments included implantation of artificial organs, synthetic DNA injections, and rituals where 144 people were sacrificed to feed the dead pharaoh's soul. Failed, mummies are kept in perpetual captivity, where they serve as spectral advisors for leaders of secret societies. These creatures develop limited telepathic capabilities, supernatural knowledge about future events, and ability to communicate with other dead through methods that defy scientific explanation. Would you have the courage to enter a chamber where 3,000-year-old mummies have been partially resurrected? Leave in the comments if you believe some secrets should remain buried. Number 7. The Cult of Anubis, guardians of the dead who control the living. Anubis, Egyptian god with jackal head responsible for mummification and judgment of the dead, never stopped being venerated in modern Egypt. Secret cults dedicated to this deity operate morgues, cemeteries, and mortuaries where bloody rituals are performed to invoke power over death and guarantee control over the souls of the deceased. Modern priests of Anubis include forensic doctors, funeral home directors, and cemetery workers who have been initiated into traditions dating back to pharaonic dynasties. These individuals have privileged access to fresh corpses, which are used in necromancy rituals, zombie creation, and experiments to prolong life through transfer of vital essence between dead and living. Anubis rituals include ceremonies performed in morgues during dawns, where bodies are subjected to procedures that combine traditional embalming with modern preservation techniques. Removed organs are ritually consumed by participants. Blood is collected for use in spells, and brains are preserved for communication with the dead through spirited sessions. The Brotherhood of Jackals controls Egypt's largest network of private cemeteries, where burials are performed according to specific protocols that guarantee the dead become spectral servants for organization leaders. Families pay extra fees for safe burials that include protection rituals against unauthorized resurrection of their loved ones. Egyptian zombies created through these rituals are different from Western undead. They maintain limited intelligence, ability to follow complex orders, and supernatural abilities that include temporary invisibility, superhuman physical strength, and resistance to injuries that would be fatal to living people. These servants are used for espionage, assassinations, and protection of secret society leaders. Controlled cemeteries by the Brotherhood include the City of the Dead in Cairo, where more than 1 million people live among tombs, and Luxor cemeteries, where missing tourists are frequently buried without identification after being used in sacrifice rituals. Local authorities avoid investigating these places due to fear of supernatural retaliation and political pressures exerted by the organization. Number 8. Possession by Egyptian gods, pharaonic entities in the 21st century. Egyptian gods are not just historical figures. They are active entities that regularly possess modern devotees during specific rituals. Possessions by Sekhmet, goddess of war, Thoth, god of wisdom, and Set, god of chaos, are documented in psychiatric hospitals, where victims develop impossible knowledge about ancient history, speak hieroglyphs fluently, and manifest supernatural powers that defy medical explanation. Possessions by Sekhmet transform peaceful people into violent warriors who demonstrate instinctive knowledge of ancient combat techniques, supernatural resistance to pain, and literal thirst for human blood. Victims attack other people using methods that correspond exactly to ancient Egyptian military techniques, even without having studied military history. Dr. Ahmed Hassan, psychiatrist at Abbasia Hospital in Cairo, documented more than 200 cases of possession by Egyptian deities since 1995. Patients develop completely different personalities, speak languages they never learned, and demonstrate specific knowledge about rituals and history that doesn't appear in modern books, he reported in an interview censored by the Egyptian government. Exorcism rituals performed by Islamic priests frequently fail against possessions by Egyptian gods, who do not recognize Quranic authority. Effective treatments require use of original Egyptian magical formulas, specific offerings for each deity, and ceremonies that can last weeks performed in ancient temples where connection between divine and human worlds remains active. Possessions by Thoth grant victims divination capabilities, automatic knowledge of complex hieroglyphs, and ability to decipher ancient texts that challenge professional Egyptologists. However, these capabilities come accompanied by progressive mental deterioration, extreme social isolation, and eventual death from brain exhaustion. Set, god of chaos, preferentially possesses people who work in positions of power, politicians, businessmen, religious leaders, transforming them into agents of social destruction. Victims develop psychopathic personalities, organize events that cause mass suffering, and claim to be fulfilling divine will to bring necessary chaos for world renewal. Subscribe to the channel and discover more secrets that governments try to hide, because the truth about ancient possessions needs to be known. Specialized hospitals and possessions by Egyptian gods operate clandestinely, where treatments include combination of psychiatric medication with ancient rituals. Success rate is below 30%, and majority of the cured develop permanent sequelae that include epilepsy, schizophrenia, and suicidal tendencies related to traumatic memories of divine experiences. In the next minutes, political control through pharaonic magic, the black market of cursed artifacts, human sacrifice rituals in modern temples, and how Egyptian secret societies influence global economy through directed curses and supernatural manipulation of world events. Political control through magic and the Empire of Shadows. Number 9. Secret societies and power. Egyptian Freemasonry and state control. Modern Egypt is governed not only by visible presidents and parliaments, but by a complex network of secret societies that combine millennial pharaonic traditions with Masonic structures imported from Europe during the 18th and 19th centuries. These organizations, documented through diplomatic leaks and journalistic investigations, control key ministries, armed forces, judicial system, and national economy through methods that mix conventional political influence with ancestral magical rituals. The Grand Lodge of Egypt, officially established in 1798 during the Napoleonic campaign, was never completely dissolved despite Islamic religious pressures. It operates clandestinely through lodges distributed in Alexandria, Cairo, Luxor, and Aswan, where rituals combine traditional Masonic symbolism with specific Pharaonic iconography. Members include generals, ministers, Supreme Court judges, state bank directors, and political party leaders who use fraternal connections to coordinate national policies without parliamentary supervision. Initiation rituals performed in underground chambers built under historic mosques include ceremonies where candidates are symbolically killed in original Egyptian sarcophagi, then resurrected as servants of the great architect of the universe, specifically identified with Ra, Egyptian solar god. These ceremonies include use of real mummies as ancestral witnesses, recitation of magical formulas and hieroglyphs, and eternal loyalty oaths sealed through ritual involving drinking mixture of wine with pulverized mummy fragments. The Order of the Heirs of Isis controls network of feminist NGOs that promote women's rights as facade for occultist activities. Members include wives of important politicians, university directors, and leaders of international organizations who use official positions to protect archaeological sites where secret rituals are performed. These women claim direct communication with the spirit of goddess Isis through mediumistic sessions performed on Philae Island during full moons. Financing of these societies comes from sources that include illegal sale of archaeological artifacts, money laundering through tourism companies, and compulsory donations from businessmen seeking protection against curses. Estimated annual budget exceeds 2 billion Egyptian pounds, allowing bribery of authorities, financing of electoral campaigns, and maintenance of secret infrastructure that includes mummification laboratories, libraries of forbidden texts, and arsenals of magical artifacts. Can you imagine voting in elections where candidates are chosen through rituals with 3,000-year-old mummies? Leave in the comments what you think of this democracy controlled by secret societies. Number 10. Economic control through curses. Egyptian magical capitalism. The Egyptian economy operates through a system where commercial success depends not only on business competence, but on magical protection and ability to cast curses against competitors. Businessmen hire specialized wizards to guarantee business prosperity, destroy rivals through directed spells, and protect investments against spectral attacks that can cause sudden bankruptcies and inexplicable industrial accidents. Occult Chamber of Commerce operates parallel to the official Chamber of Commerce, where businessmen pay annual fees to wizards who perform commercial protection rituals, curses against rivals, and ceremonies to attract clients through supernatural influence. These services cost between 50,000 and 500,000 Egyptian pounds annually, depending on company size and complexity of requested magical protection. Egyptian banks maintain secret departments of spiritual consulting, where decisions about loans, investments, and mergers are made after consultation with oracles specialized in communication with pharaoh spirits. Main vaults are protected through original Egyptian amulets, curses engraved in hieroglyphs that supposedly cause instant death for thieves, and monthly rituals where animal sacrifices are performed to guarantee financial stability. The Cairo Stock Exchange operates according to calendar that combines modern technical analysis with ancestral Egyptian astrology. Investment decisions are influenced by specific planetary positions, lunar phases that correspond to pharaonic festivals, and advice received through mediumistic communication with spirits of ancient scribes responsible for economy during dynastic periods. Multinational companies operating in Egypt are obligated to hire cultural consultants, euphemism for wizards specialized in neutralizing competitor curses and guaranteeing that operations are not sabotaged through supernatural attacks. Coca-Cola, Vodafone, and Mercedes-Benz maintain annual contracts with secret societies that cost millions of dollars for magical protection of factories, offices, and employees. Workers' unions include secret sections dedicated to labor magic, where strikes are organized through collective curses against bosses. Work accidents are explained as a result of violation of ancestral taboos, and salary negotiations include threats of supernatural attacks against businessmen who refuse to meet demands. Number 11. Dark tourism, exploring curses for international profit. The Egyptian tourism industry developed a clandestine segment of dark tourism, where visitors pay fortunes to participate in forbidden rituals, visit sealed tombs, and experience authentic curses and adventures that frequently end in death, madness, or permanent possession. This market, estimated at $500 million annually, operates through specialized agencies that offer extreme experiences for wealthy tourists willing to risk lives for supernatural adrenaline. Controlled curse packages include supervised exposure to cursed artifacts, participation in necromancy rituals, and nights spent alone in tombs where mysterious deaths have been documented. Prices vary from $10,000 to $100,000 per experience, depending on the level of risk accepted by the client. Official mortality rate is kept below 2% through medical presence during rituals, but real numbers include accidents and suicides that occur weeks after experiences. Specialized guides include direct descendants of families who served pharaohs as priests, wizards, and tomb guardians. These individuals claim hereditary knowledge of methods to awaken and control curses, neutralize negative effects through specific rituals, and communicate with guardian spirits to negotiate safe passage through cursed places. Offered experiences include temporary mummification of living tourists, using paralytic drugs and preservation techniques that can be reversed, communication with mummies through mediumistic sessions, participation in animal sacrifices for specific gods, and ritual where tourists make temporary pacts with Egyptian entities in exchange for limited supernatural powers. Tourists who survive these experiences frequently develop obsessions with Egyptian occultism, spend fortunes buying artifacts on the black market, and return to Egypt repeatedly seeking more intense experiences. Many report increased psychic capabilities, prophetic dreams, and ability to communicate with the dead, but also severe depression, paranoia, and suicidal tendencies related to calls from Egyptian entities. Subscribe to the channel and discover more secrets that the tourism industry hides, because the truth about these experiences needs to be known before more lives are lost. Number 12. Geopolitical curses. Egypt as regional occult power. The Egyptian government uses pharaonic magic as instrument of foreign policy, casting directed curses against leaders of rival countries, influencing diplomatic negotiations through specific rituals, and protecting national territory through magical barriers that supposedly prevent invasions and terrorist attacks. These practices, documented through intelligence leaks and diplomat testimonies, transformed Egypt into a cult power that exercises regional influence through methods invisible to conventional observers. Department of Magical Warfare operates within the Ministry of Defense, where specialists in pharaonic magic develop spiritual weapons for use against external enemies. These weapons include curses that cause air accidents, sabotage of military equipment through supernatural influence, and psychic attacks directed against enemy military commanders that result in disastrous tactical decisions. Magical barriers built along borders with Israel, Libya, and Sudan include modern obelisks engraved with specific hieroglyphs, burial of powerful amulets at precise geographical intervals, and performance of monthly rituals to maintain active ancestral protection. Military authorities claim these barriers are responsible for inexplicable failures of enemy equipment, accidents that prevent invasions, and mental confusion that affects foreign soldiers crossing borders. Magical assassinations of foreign leaders include documented cases where presidents and prime ministers of rival countries died under mysterious circumstances after diplomatic tensions with Egypt. Methods include curses that cause natural heart attacks, accidents that seem like coincidences, and sudden development of rare diseases that resist modern medical treatment. Influence over Suez Canal includes rituals performed monthly by secret societies to guarantee that ships from friendly countries have safe passage, while vessels from hostile nations face technical accidents, adverse weather conditions, and navigation problems that can result in costly groundings and significant commercial delays. Diplomatic negotiations are preceded by consultations with oracles specialized in communication with pharaohs who govern during periods of territorial expansion. Diplomatic strategies are developed based on advice received through mediumistic sessions where ancestral spirits supposedly provide information about adversaries' weak points and astrologically favorable moments for political pressures. In the next minutes, Egypt's dark future, resistance of modern movements against occultist traditions, cases of liberation from curses through science, and reflection on the price that societies pay when they allow ancient superstitions to control contemporary decisions. Prepare to discover if there is hope for light in the eternal sands of the desert, the resistance, reform, and the future of Egyptian darkness. Number 13. Resistance movements, scientists against superstition. Despite the millennial dominance of secret societies and occultist practices, modern Egypt harbors a growing resistance movement composed of scientists, doctors, educators, and young people who courageously challenge superstitious traditions through methods that combine scientific education with social activism. These reformers risk their lives to document frauds, expose charlatanism, and offer rational alternatives to problems traditionally solved through magic and curses. Dr. Mostafa Waziri, current Secretary General of the Supreme Council of Antiquities, leads campaign to demystify Pharaonic curses through rigorous scientific explanations. His research documents how fungi, bacteria, toxic gases, and radioactive materials present in ancient tombs cause deaths attributed to supernatural curses. Every curse has verifiable scientific explanation. He states in interviews censored by local media that prefers to maintain lucrative mystery for tourism. Egyptian Organization for Human Rights maintains secret database documenting more than 10,000 cases of violence related to accusations of witchcraft, demonic possession, and violation of ancestral taboos since 2010. Organization lawyers represent victims of violent rituals, families of people killed during exorcisms, and individuals persecuted by secret societies due to public criticism of occultism. Universities of Cairo and Alexandria develop clandestine programs of scientific literacy, where students learn methods to identify spiritual frauds, explain paranormal phenomena through science, and resist family and social pressures to participate in superstitious rituals. These programs operate disguised as cultural studies to avoid retaliation from occultist groups that have infiltrated university administrations. Egyptian psychiatrist doctors document how scientific treatments of mental illnesses can cure people diagnosed as possessed by gods or demons. Dr. Ahmed Hassan from Abbasia Hospital developed protocols that combine modern medication with cultural therapy, helping patients understand that voices and visions have neurological, not supernatural origin. Success rate exceeds 80%. But work is sabotaged by religious pressures and threats from secret societies. Would you support scientists who risk lives to free societies from deadly superstitions? Leave in the comments if you believe science can overcome traditions based on fear and ignorance. Number 14. Technology against magic, the digital war. The digital revolution created a new battlefield between forces of rationality and occultist traditions, where social networks, smartphones, and internet allowed scientific information to circulate more quickly, but also facilitated organization of secret societies and dissemination of disinformation about supernatural powers. Young Egyptians used technology to unmask fraudulent wizards, document illegal rituals, and create virtual communities of resistance against superstition. Mobile applications developed by Egyptian programmers include Mummy Debunker, which scientifically explains phenomena attributed to curses, Fake Magic Detector, which identifies tricks used by charlatans, and Rational Egypt, social network for atheists, agnostics, and skeptics living under extreme social pressure. These applications are frequently removed from digital stores due to government pressures and threats from occultist groups. Digital influencers like YouTuber Ahmed Salah, known as Egyptian Skeptic, accumulate millions of followers exposing frauds of famous wizards, explaining illusionism tricks presented as real powers, and educating audience about scientific methods to test supernatural claims. Sulla receives death threats regularly and was forced to leave Egypt after a series of physical attacks organized by secret societies. Digital surveillance allows reformers to document illegal activities of occultist groups through hidden cameras, audio recordings, and digital traces left by secret society leaders. Collected evidence includes videos of human sacrifices, financial records of money laundering through magical services, and correspondences that reveal infiltration in government institutions. Cyber warfare between reformers and occultists includes hacker attacks against sites that promote scientific education, creation of fake profiles to spread disinformation about researchers, and use of artificial intelligence to generate false evidence of supernatural phenomena that confuse less educated public. Underground resistance operates through encrypted networks where doctors, teachers, journalists, and activists share information about cases of ritual violence, coordinate efforts to rescue victims of secret societies, and plan educational campaigns that challenge authority of traditional occultist leaders. Number 15. Liberation cases, when science beats superstition. Despite fierce resistance from secret societies and millennial traditions, documented cases grow where scientific interventions manage to break curses, cure possessed people, and free entire communities from the dominion of wizards and charlatans. These successes demonstrate that education, adequate medical treatment, and social support can overcome even the most entrenched superstitions in Egyptian culture. Case of Cana Village. Community of 50,000 inhabitants was liberated from wizard who controlled local economy through fear of curses for 40 years. Coordinated intervention by doctors, educators, and activists included psychiatric treatment for cursed people, scientific education about phenomena attributed to magic, and arrest of charlatan for fraud. 2 years after intervention, village registers 300% increase in per capita income, 90% reduction in possession cases, and first generation of young people attending universities. Demystified Mummies program developed by Egyptian Museum of Cairo educates more than 100,000 annual visitors about scientific preservation methods, rational explanations for powers attributed to artifacts, and real history, without mysticism, of Egyptian funerary practices. Program reduced by 60% sales of magical amulets in tourist markets, and increased young people's interest in careers in archaeology and science. Dr. Fatima al-Rashid, pioneering psychiatrist in treatment of possessions, documented complete cure of 847 patients diagnosed as possessed by gods or demons since 2015. Methods include medication for schizophrenia, culturally adapted cognitive behavioral therapy, and social reintegration programs that help ex-possessed rebuild lives without stigma. There is no real possession, states al-Rashid, only mental illnesses interpreted through ancestral beliefs. Victim Protection Network operates clandestinely to rescue people held captive by secret societies, offering safe shelters, specialized medical treatment, and legal support to prosecute torturers. Network has already freed more than 200 victims of violent rituals, including children forced to participate in sacrifices, women subjected to living mummification, and men used as oracles through systematic torture. Rational Egypt campaign uses modern marketing methods to promote scientific thinking through celebrities, digital influencers, and progressive religious leaders who defend non-superstitious interpretations of Islam and Christianity. Campaign reaches 20 million Egyptians monthly, resulting in documented 40% reduction in search for magical services in educated urban areas. Number 16. The future of the fight. Light versus darkness in the eternal sands. 21st century Egypt represents microcosm of global struggle between reason and superstition, where forces of modernity confront millennial traditions that resist changes through violence, manipulation, and social control. Result of this battle will determine not only the future of Egyptians, but influence that occultist traditions will exercise over other societies facing similar conflicts between scientific progress and mystical fundamentalism. Demographic trends favor change. 60% of Egyptian population is under 30 years old, grew up with internet access, and demonstrates growing skepticism regarding traditional authorities. Research indicates that educated urban youth are 5 times less likely to consult wizards, participate in superstitious rituals, or believe in curses compared to previous generations. Secret society resistance intensifies through methods that include infiltration in universities to prevent scientific education, bribery of politicians to maintain laws that protect occultist practices, and disinformation campaigns that present modernization as Western cultural invasion that threatens authentic Egyptian identity. Religious reform led by young imams and Christian priests reinterprets sacred texts to emphasize rational aspects of Islam and Christianity, rejecting extreme mysticism and practices that cause human suffering. Movement faces violent resistance from fundamentalists who consider reform as apostasy punishable by death. International investment in scientific education, mental health programs, and economic development offers practical alternatives to problems traditionally solved through magic. European countries and international organizations secretly finance programs that challenge influence of secret societies without direct confrontation that could cause political instability. Predictions for next 20 years include scenarios ranging from victory of rationality, where education and economic development gradually eliminate deadly superstitions, to occultist revenge, where secret societies use modern technology to strengthen control through more sophisticated methods of psychological and social manipulation. Subscribe to the channel to follow this epic battle between light and darkness, because humanity's future may depend on who wins this war between reason and superstition. Final reflection: the eternal price of ancestral wisdom. After exploring the darkest aspects of Egyptian spirituality, a fundamental question remains. How did society that created one of the most advanced civilizations in ancient history transform in a laboratory where fear, superstition, and occult control dominate millions of lives in the 21st century? The answer perhaps lies in the very nature of spiritual power when preserved through traditions that resist changes, questioning, and reforms. What began as genuine wisdom of ancient Egyptian priests, knowledge about medicine, astronomy, engineering, and psychology, was gradually corrupted by individuals who discovered that fear of death, promises of supernatural power, and threats of eternal curse can be used to control entire populations. Egypt teaches us that ancestral traditions are not automatically wise or beneficial just for being ancient. Some practices that survive millennia are sophisticated systems of exploitation that adapted to each historical era, maintaining manipulative essence while incorporating new elements, whether medieval Islamic influences, European Masonic techniques, or modern digital technologies. More worrying is perceiving how Egyptian secret societies influence politics, economy, and culture not only locally, but through international networks that connect occultists from different countries. Modern Egyptian wizards export services to wealthy clients in Europe and America. Cursed artifacts circulate in global markets, and mind control techniques developed by Pharaonic secret societies are studied and adapted by similar organizations worldwide. And you, after knowing this dark dimension that hides behind a romantic image of Pharaonic Egypt, can you still look at pyramids and mummies with the same tourist admiration? Can you still visit Egyptian museums without thinking about the deadly secrets that may be hidden behind exhibited artifacts? And now tell me, after discovering the horrors that hide in the eternal sands of the Egyptian desert, what shocked you most? Did you already imagine that 5,000-year-old traditions still control modern lives through fear and superstition? How do you think societies can free themselves from ancestral traditions that transformed into instruments of oppression? Leave in the comments your reflections on how our fascination with ancient wisdom can blind us to brutal realities that persist when traditions resist evolution and critical questioning. And if this content made you question your perceptions about ancient civilizations, share with other people who need to understand that not every historical legacy deserves preservation. If you want to continue exploring the hidden dimensions of cultures that the world prefers to keep romanticized and mystified, activate the bell to not miss investigations that reveal how the past continues, haunting the present through methods invisible to unprepared eyes. Thank you very much for having courage to confront these disturbing realities without romanticization or denial. And until the next journey through the darkest and most revealing aspects of human experience through history, Egypt teaches us that some truths are more terrifying than any pharaonic curse. And the greatest of them is discovering that true horror doesn't come from the dead, but from the living who use fear of death to enslave other human beings.